Can you take a boat from Florida to the Bahamas without breaking the bank? I just did it in this cheap boat from Facebook Marketplace. So if you're curious about the cost and what goes into it, stick around because I'm breaking down everything in this video. All right, let's hop right into it. The Bahamas trip, cost breakdown, going from Florida to the Bahamas and back. What did it cost? What's involved? Let's dive right into it. I got my laptop here with all my notes. But my name is Brandon Gross. Welcome to my channel. If you like boating content, travel, anything crazy, anything water related, you're in the right place. So drop a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. It helps me out in such a great way. It's free to do. Just one little click helps me out so much. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, my trip to the Bahamas, I literally knew nothing about it. I knew nothing that was involved. I learned everything that I needed to know from other people's YouTube videos, just Googling how to go to the Bahamas, what's involved, just literally learning from scratch. I didn't really have anyone to help me. I joined a Facebook group called The Crossing, and I was trying to find people on there to go with a buddy boat because it's just pretty dangerous to go by yourself. Was trying my hardest to find someone to go with me and it just wasn't working out. Our schedules weren't lining up. People didn't like the weather windows that we had. So I decided just to go on my own. I mean, I had friends in my boat. It was 4 of us. We went solo on my boat, no buddy boats with us. It was a bad idea. I highly recommend against doing that. We took a risk and it paid off. A trip like this obviously has a million variables. I can only tell you how we did it in our budget with my boat, but I'm hoping that all of my numbers can give you an idea of what it might cost you in your boat, or if you're looking to purchase a boat, just to help give you a better idea overall of what's involved. You can change the numbers around to fit whatever your lifestyle is. I live on a budget most of the time, so I did this as cheap as freaking possible, and we're gonna dive into that budget right now. All right, first thing, let's get into my boat. It is a 1995 Robalo 2440, so it's a 24-foot walk-around boat. It does have twin motors. It's two 2007 Optimax 175 motors. They drink a ton of fuel. They are not very efficient. My boat also has a 180-gallon fuel tank, so I knew that I had the range to do it. A lot of boats don't have a huge fuel tank, depending on what you buy, so I made sure when I bought this boat, I had a very large fuel tank. With my boat, I could cruise at an average of about 30 miles an hour the whole way out there, and it's about 50 some miles. So with my boat, on a very nice day, you should be able to get there around 2 hours, but that was not the case for us. My max speed on the boat was 42 miles an hour, and the slowest speed that we were cruising was around the low 20s, just because the waves were pretty bad when we were going out there. I took weather into consideration heavily, but there was things I didn't understand about the weather, so I hope that you guys can learn from my mistakes. I was looking on the Windy app. It showed the maximum wave height for the day we wanted to go out there of 1 foot, which was absolutely not the case. We were fighting 3 to 4 footers in my little 24-foot boat for 3 hours straight, just getting absolutely beaten up. Waves crashing over the front of the boat the whole time. We were soaking wet. Everything we had was soaked, covered in salt water. And that's because the winds were out of the north, which were clashing with the Gulf Stream that comes out of the south. So those two just clashing together just made a big dumpster of messy waves for the entire ride out there. But I was just looking on the weather app and it said 1 foot waves. That to me sounded great. It's my own ignorance, but we still made it. The first expense of the trip was my cruising permit to go to the Bahamas. I did that via Click to Clear. If you just Google Click to Clear, the website pops up. I believe boats under 31 or 32 feet, it's around $100 something, and it like jumps up to $300 if you're over 30 some feet. There's a weird cutoff there. But my boat being under 30 feet, all the fees, taxes, and everything to give me my legal permission to be in the Bahamas via boat, it came out to $183. I believe that that permit is good for 90 days. So I think now if I go back, within the next couple months, I don't have to pay all of that again. I'm sure I still have to pay some fees here and there, but I don't think it's gonna be 183 every time. Another thing to consider is parking. I don't have a dock, I don't have a marina, I trailer my boat every single time, so I chose to leave from Haulover. Parking lot and Haulover, they charge about $16 a day. You can only pay by 24-hour increments, so I paid for 2 days there, $16 each. That came out to $32.64 for 48 hours of parking. That's only during the weekdays. It jumps up to $20 a day if you're on the weekends. Another expense, which ended up saving us a lot of money, was food. We spent $57 at Walmart before we even left on the trip and just packed up a bunch of stuff for sandwiches, PB&Js, drinks and snacks, just everything so we didn't have to go out to restaurants there because we were trying to do this as cheap as possible. So $57 for food. Now let's get into where we stayed when we got there. We went to Bimini Big Game Club and we went by their winter rates, which are from September 5th to March 31st, and that is $3.75 per foot, which came out to $90. The room itself, we had a bungalow room, which is a little bit more spacious. It's a little bit closer to the docks. We literally walked right outside the front door, went right to the boat, so it cost a little bit more money. That room was $359 plus fees and taxes. If you get just the regular room at the Bimini Big Game Club, it's $309, just like an average hotel room type of thing. I did work out a deal through the Bimini Big Game Club where they were able to comp the slip and the hotel room for the 4 of us that went out there. So that was super helpful. It saved us around $449, very close to that. But just keep that in mind if you're considering going there. That's another expense that you will have. But it was an amazing resort. None of us had cell service, so we were all just using the Wi-Fi there when we got to the hotel room for a couple minutes. And speaking of Wi-Fi, I want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Surfshark. Surfshark is a VPN, which especially nowadays is super important to have. For anyone who doesn't know, a VPN is just a virtual private network that just covers all of your online activity. It encrypts everything, keeps all of your data, all of your information safe, because there are so many hackers, so many scams, terrible things going around these days. Surfshark keeps you safe during all of that. And I just learned the hardest way possible. Literally just last week, I got a notification that somebody had spent almost $10,000 on my checking account. I can only assume it's from using sketchy Wi-Fis all over the place and being completely unprotected with all my devices. It is safe to say that Surfshark is going to be protecting me from now on. And with Surfshark, you can set up unlimited devices with your account. So there's no worry about how many devices you can be using or protecting at one time. All of your devices, one account, done. 2 of my favorite things about Surfshark is you can change your location virtually. So if you're in another country or another state and certain websites are blocked, you can change your location and have full access to all the websites that you need. And the number one most important thing for me is you can experience the internet before advertising happened. No ads, no cookies, no pop-ups, and no trackers. And on top of that, all of your information is safe all the time and you don't have to lose $10,000 like I may have just done. I'm still disputing that, by the way. I'm really hoping that I can get the money back. It's not looking good so far. But go to surfshark.com/Brandon Gross. You can enjoy 4 extra months on top of your yearly subscription with Surfshark. And now that all of you guys are protected, let's buckle up and get into the biggest expense of the Bahamas trip. And you know dang right, it's fuel. All right, obviously fuel is gonna be the most expensive cost on my trip at least. And it's gonna be a lot less than most people because I only have a 24-foot boat. It's pretty small to make the crossing. I filled up the full 180 gallons before we left. When we came back, I refilled it again. I filled up 95 gallons when I brought it back here to the gas station near my house. At $3.83 a gallon, that was a total of $363.98. But my fuel gauge was a little glonky while we were in the Bahamas, and I was kind of worried if we were gonna have enough fuel to make it home. So I did put in fuel while we were in the Bahamas, and that was a whopping $6.40 a gallon for ethanol-free gas in Bimini in the Bahamas. I put 20 gallons in, that was $128. They have some extra 5% fee on top of the fuel cost there. I'm not quite sure exactly what it is. So all in all, we used 115 gallons for a total of $491.98. If I would have known that I had enough fuel to make it back and didn't fill up in Bimini and would have got that extra 20 gallons when I got home, that would have saved me another $51.40. So around $450 to $500 for my boat to go to Bimini and back. All in all, it was 54 miles from the Haulover boat ramp to Bimini Big Game Club. We did another 45 miles all around Bimini, just cruising around and checking out locations, and then another 54 miles all the way back to the boat ramp. That means our total trip was 155 miles, give or take a couple miles, and that put my boat at an average of 1.35 miles per gallon, which yes, is awful. Granted, we were cruising fast the entire time. We weren't ever really putting. It really makes me want to get some nice new 4-stroke motors on this boat, upgrade to some Suzukis. Anything, honestly, is going to be more fuel efficient than these Optimax motors. So with all of the fuel, the dockage, the hotel, the parking, and the cruising permit, and the food, that brings our grand total for a 2-day, 1-night trip to the Bahamas on my 24-foot Robalo to $1,180.98. I'm not sure if that's good or bad. I don't really think you can do it in much less of a budget with my size boat. That's basically as cheap as it can be. I did include the hotel, even though we did have that comp. I just wanted to give realistic numbers. So hopefully this helps you out, gives you a little bit of a better idea of what really goes into it and how much it could cost you based on my size boat. Obviously, people go in a lot bigger boats all the time, a lot smaller boats all the time. People do it in jet skis. Every year they even have people that paddleboard the 54 miles over to Bimini. So it can be done on a lot of different budgets and a lot of different ways. But what I think the number one most important thing that I learned about this whole trip is the weather. Weather. Weather is the absolute most important thing. You can't go by the wave heights like they say. You really have to take in consideration the wind direction, the swell direction, all that stuff. But the weather is the absolute #1 most important thing. It is so freaking dangerous out there. Once you get out there and lose cell service a few miles offshore from Miami, you're on your own. You could be stuck out there for days if no one knows you're there, if you don't have the proper safety equipment. I made sure I had every single piece of safety equipment we needed. The one thing I think I might invest in is a true legitimate satellite phone. That would be crucial to have out there. I know the new iPhones are satellite phones, but I don't really want to rely on that. I want something dedicated to rescue us, as well as possibly maybe like a little life raft, like a little emergency life raft or something. I feel like I could probably find something on Amazon. But once you get out there and you can't see land in either direction, that's when it really starts to hit you and reality sets in, where you're on your own out there. People are probably gonna come help you if they know that you're even stuck. If you can get any sort of signal out to somebody, I don't know, I'm rambling. It's dangerous out there. If you are planning on making the crossing, be as safe as possible, do as much research as possible. Don't do what I did. I did it in a stupid way. I'm not afraid to admit it. Be prepared, watch the weather, get ready to spend a lot of money on fuel and everything else, and get out there and enjoy the bright blue water of the Bahamas, because it was absolutely incredible. It was super worth it. I'm already planning my next trip back there. I mean, just look at these clips from the Bahamas and the short 36 hours that we had there. It was absolutely gorgeous. It was better than I even imagined it would be, and I am so excited to go back. Highly, highly, highly recommend. And in the future, I'm hoping to get to some farther islands in the Bahamas, but that's a whole nother can of worms to get into. Hopefully that'll be in a video in the future. But thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you all. Thank you for the support. Please drop a like, a comment, and just subscribe to my channel. It helps out more than you know. It's free to do. Just a little tap, a little click, and just helps me. Thank you guys so much. Also, I do have merch if you guys are interested in supporting the channel that way. This is one of my hoodies on the back. It has all of the mean comments from my first couple boat videos where I was getting a lot of hate, and I figured why not turn the hate into something positive, throw it on a shirt, and then also the superstition of bringing bananas on a boat. I bring bananas on the boat all the time, and that's why I made this little hat with a devious banana driving the boat. Stick around and enjoy some more clips from the Bahamas. Follow along on my channel if you love boating content. Thank you all. I love you for watching this video. You specifically. Yes, you. I will see you guys for the next one. Thank you.